Hello everyone, welcome to Codestur. So this is lecture number 5 from the C++ beginner to advanced series. So in the last lecture, that is lecture number 4, we studied about conditional, right? You might be remembering everything of it. The three conditionals that we took into was if else if chain, and the if else if else. That means if else if and then else at the end. Okay. In this lecture, that is lecture number 5, we are gonna study about loops. Like in the last video, we studied about conditionals, right? Conditionals is one of the most important topics in any programming language. Similarly, similarly, loops are also really important topic in any programming language, in any particular programming language. Okay, beginning it with loops. What do loops actually do? Simple language. What will a loop do actually is that it will repeat, it will repeat certain lines in a program based upon some condition. Based upon some condition. That means, let's suppose if I have these three lines in a program and I want that these three lines must be repeated 5 times. That means these three lines must be executed 5 times. What it actually means is that I'll execute this line, then this line, then this line. Again, I'll execute this line, then this, again, then this, again this, and again this. This is what loops do. They will just execute particular set of lines multiple number of times. The number could be decided by our, like, we can decide the number of times the lines need to be repeated. This is what the condition means. Like, until condition would be true, these lines will keep repeating themselves, and when the condition becomes false, the line will stop repeating themselves. Fine. This is what loops do in a program. Okay. So basically, we are going to study about two loops, one of them being for loop and one of them being while loop. While is of basically two types. This is a normal while, like simple one, and another one is do while. Before starting, I would just tell you, most of the times you would be using this for loop or this normal while loop. That's it. You will not be using this do while loop most of the times. Like 9 out of 10 times you would be using these two. It might be one time that you may use this one. Like, this is not so important. So if you do not want to focus on this, you cannot, you can skip it. You just need to focus on these two, for loop and this normal while loop. Fine. Beginning on with the first kind of loop, for loop. So straight away entering into the syntax of the for loop, how will I write it? I will write something like that, for, and I'll keep two braces here, and then this, and all the lines that I am going to write between these curly braces are going to be repeated certain number of times, like until the condition becomes true, right? How will you show to the program what that condition is? How will you? Okay, the syntax is something like that. There is a semicolon, two semicolons basically. You need to provide three inputs here. Okay, three inputs. Here you need to write like starting variable, starting variable. That means the variable that is going to start from here. I'll tell you how is it working. Okay, here you need to write the condition, and here you need to write the updation of the variable, like the kind of updation you want to give to the variable. That means how the variable is gonna update, right? This is what it means. I'll tell you by example what does it actually mean. Let's suppose I want to get an output something like that. like uh, I want to get an output, something like that. I want to print this on the screen. Okay, Codestur is being printed 3 times, right? This is the task that I want to perform, and I'm going to use for loop into it, and I'll demonstrate how to use a for loop into it. Okay, so I'll just use something like that. The first argument was like the starting variable, right? Initial variable, starting variable. How will I do it? I'll just declare a variable until like I'll tell you two ways how to do it. The first way is like that. Let's suppose I declare int I is equal to 1, right? Simple. Okay. The next is the condition, right? What is the condition here actually? I need to repeat the same set of lines 3 times, right? 3 times. So what I'll do is that I'll keep count with this I. I'll keep count with this I. Okay. I is 1 right now, right? Let's suppose I printed this when I was 1, right? I'll print this when I was 2. I'll print this when I was 3. And when I will become 4, I'll get to know that already 3 times it has been printed. This is what I needed. When I get to 4, I'll just tell the program terminate everything. Fine. That is the condition actually. I less than equal 3. Like the statements within the loop will get executed only when I is less than or equal to 3. If I becomes greater than 3, that means just as I becomes 4, the loop gets terminated. That means the statements will not get executed anytime further. Okay. The third argument that you need to give is updation. Like you need to update the value of I, right? This is I is equal to 1. You need to update it to I is equal to 2, right? How will you update it? I'll use postfix operator. And if you do not know what does a postfix operator mean, go and watch the operators video in the same series. I think it would be lecture number 2. Lecture number 2. I would give the link in the description. You can just check it out and then you can come back to this. Okay. Postfix operator. I'll use this to update the value of I. I'll just write I plus plus. Simple. After this statement, what will happen is that the I, which was 1, will now become 2. Simple. Okay. So this is basically the conditions of the for loop. These are the conditions of the for loop. So this will actually define that the loop is going to run 3 times. Simple. This is defined. Now, what is the statement that I have to run 3 times? I have to print this, right? I'll just write the statement between this. I'll just write cout Codestur, and then I'll write endl. Why did I write endl? Because after this Codestur, I had to move to my pointer to the next line to print Codestur again, right? Simple. So I just used endl so that after printing Codestur, the pointer moves to the next line, and again after printing Codestur, the pointer will again move to the next line, right? And I'll just close this brace. I'll just close this. Okay. This is the loop. Like this is how you are going to use it. And again, everything of it is going to be written inside int main. Fine. You have to write everything of it inside int main. That is quite clear. Multiple times I've told it. Okay. So this is how you have to use the for loop, right? Just remember these 3 things. Starting variable, that means initialization of the variable, the condition until when the for loop has to be run, and updation, update the variable. Okay. So just tell me one thing. If I do not update this variable, let's suppose I do not update this variable, right? I just leave this empty. What will happen is that I was 1 in the first case, right? This printed this, but the variable was not updated, right? The variable did not get updated. So when I go to the second iteration, like when I go again to this condition, it will again check 1 less than equal to 3 becomes true. Again it will execute this. No updation has taken place. It will again go back. It will again see 1 less than equal to 3. Now imagine This will continue going on, and Codestur would be printed infinite time. And when the memory of the computer gets finished, the code will crash, the computer will crash. Okay, so this is where updation holds importance. So you just got to know the importance of this updation part, right? So this is the variable initialization part, right? You need to understand one thing. The variable has been initialized within the for loop. So if I try to access the value of I outside this for loop, you will not get that access because the variable has been initialized within the for loop, right? Let's suppose in some case you want to access the value of I outside this, right? You want to access this value. How will you do it? How will you do it? I'll tell you how will you do it. You can use a hack here. Okay, you just do one thing. You just declare the variable outside this for loop. I is equal to 1, right? And just simply use I here. That's it. I using I here, that means you are using the value of I. That means the value initially, the value is being 1. That is what we are doing before that. Now the value is being updated inside the for loop. No issues. If I try to access the value of I outside this for loop here, see out I, I'll get the result as simply, I'll get the result as 4. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. When I became 3, this got executed, right? After that, updation happened, right? I became 4, and when I became 4, this condition evaluated to false, and then this loop got terminated. That means the loop got terminated when the value of I was not 3, the value of I was 4. So if you try to access the value of I outside the for loop, you will get it as 4. Okay, fine. This is what for loop tells us. So I hope this is enough to make you understand for loop in detail. Okay, moving on to the next loop, simple while loop. Okay, how does the simple while loop actually work? I'll tell you the syntax straight away. I'll just write while and I'll give a condition. This is quite simple. I'll give a condition and I'll use these braces and I'll write some programming lines within this. These lines will get repeated until the condition is true. Until the condition is true. Simple enough. The condition is true, the line gets executed. The condition is true, the line gets executed. The condition is false, the loop gets terminated. You move on to the next line of the program. Simple. This is what simple while loop is. So how will you maintain this condition? Let's suppose I want to write that same problems code. Fine. I want to write something like that. Codestur, and then code. Okay, this is the problem that I will now solve using while loop. Fine. I have this condition here, right? So try and look here. How did I maintain this condition here? How did I access this condition here? Using this variable I, right? I just incremented the value of I and I just checked if the value of I is above a certain limit. I'll just break off the loop, right? The same thing I'm gonna do here. I'll declare a variable int I is equal to 1, and then I'll run a while loop. While I less than equal to 3. This is a condition, right? As simple as that. If I is less than or equal to 3, the loop will get executed. If I becomes greater than 3, the loop will get terminated automatically. This is what it means, right? I'll just write here, see out, Codestur, and then endl. Fine. That's it. This is what while loop meant. Simple while loop might be quite simple for you. Like simpler than the for loop, right? Because in for loop you have to remember all these three conditions. You have to remember all these three conditions, right? Okay. So now if I try to access the value of I outside this loop, quite easy to understand. You will be able to access it because the value was declared outside the loop. The value was declared outside the loop. So you can easily use it. Simple. You have a mistake here. You have a mistake here. Just go to the for loop. You saw three parts having it, right? Starting variable, you did it. Simple. Then the condition, you did it. Simple. Where is the updation part, man? Where is the updation part? This will run till infinite, right? Because I is 1. I is not getting updated. Again, it will check a 1 less than equal to 3, 1 less than equal to 3, 1 less than equal to 3. It will print Codestur infinite times, and once the memory is filled, it will just crash the program, crash the system. Fine. How will you do it? How will you update? I'll just write here I plus plus. As simple as that. So once I was 1, right? I was 1 initially. Codestur got printed. I plus plus. I became 2. I was 2. 2 less than equal to 3. Fine. Codestur got printed. I became 3. 3 less than equal to 3. Correct. Codestur got printed. I became 4. Is 4 less than equal to 3? Not at all. Loop gets broken. Okay. Loop gets broken out. And if I try here, see out I, then what is the result that I'm gonna get? As simple as that. You will get a result of 4. The same result you got here. So try to use this scope of this variable logically, because declaration of variable is important, right? If you declare it here and try to use it here, you will get an error like variable is not existing, something like that, because you are trying to like access the variable that is not existing in this particular scope. It is existing only inside the loop. Fine. This is how it is working. The simple while loop. Okay. The third one and the last one, do while. Like this is a kind of different thing. Like this has some specific use cases, not like for and while simple while loops. This has some specific use cases, not normal use cases. Like, see, I'll tell you the difference first. For the simple while loop, the loop will get executed only when the condition is true, right? It is not like that. The loop will get executed and then it will check the condition. First, like what are the steps here? It will check the condition first and then it will execute. Fine. This is the basic thing that you are doing in for loop and in while loop. First check the condition. If the condition is true, then execute. If the condition is false, then break the loop. Simple. Just come out of the loop. That's it. Here you will see exactly opposite thing. First the loop will execute. Fine. Then it will check the condition. After execution of the loop, it will check the condition. Is it true or is it false? If it is true, then again it will execute the loop. And if it is false, then it will break the loop. This is what do while loop means. This is what do while loop means. Okay. Going to the syntax, just write something like that. Do and use these braces and write some programming lines within it. Write some programming lines within it. Fine. And then write this while and then write the condition. Simple. This is how it is working, right? Do means actually you have to execute these lines first. You have to execute these lines first. Then you have to check while this condition. Then you have to check this condition. If this evaluates to true, then again go back to do part. If this evaluates to false, then just go to the next line. Break off the loop. Simple. So these were the three kinds of loop that are important. I already told you that this for loop and the normal while loop are going to be used 9 out of 10 times. It might be some exceptional case at one time when you will be using this do while loop. Okay, so in this particular lecture I'm not going to do any questions because you have covered most of the basic things of C++. Now it's time to do questions extensively, mixed questions. That means the questions will be based on all the previous topics collectively, like the question will be using all the previous concepts and the for and while loops that you've studied in this lecture. So from the next video onwards, the tutorials will be question specific, the tutorials will be questions extensively. Fine. So from the next video onwards you will get to see great quality of questions. Fine. You have to be clear with this theory, you have to be clear with these basic syntaxes so that you can understand them. Fine. Until then, please do revise all of this because this is quite an important topic. If you are liking this content, please do like the video and subscribe the channel. Also do share with your friends so that they also get benefited. Have a good day. Keep it up. Bye bye.